So today I want to talk about Hephzibah Anderson and how she's a Jewish supremacist. Now, for people who have watched my videos for many years and are still around for some reason, you might remember Hephzibah Anderson because I made a video about her a long time ago. Although the date of the video is misleading, it's saying 2018. It wasn't originally posted in 2018. This is a re-upload, but um, the video was originally about a book that she wrote called A Year Without Sex, and it was a really stupid book. And I made a video about it, which honestly, the video is kind of dumb itself, but let's just watch a little bit of the video to kind of get an idea of kind of the context in which I'm bringing up Hephzibah Anderson.
There's this girl who wrote a book about not having sex for a year. Her name is Hephzibah. It's kind of a weird name. Yeah. When I saw that video, I thought to myself, I can really make a video about this. So let's just watch it.
It wasn't an accidental romantic, a dry spell, but a determined decision to go a year without sex that led to this book, Chastened, My Year Without Sex. Author Hephzibah Anderson joins us now from New York to talk about this decision, what she discovered along the way, and how did it all come to this, Hephzibah?
Well, the first thing I want to say is, damn, she's pretty good looking. I mean, she's pretty hot. The second thing I want to say is, what the fuck? You're making a book about not doing something? I always thought that our accomplishments were about doing stuff, as opposed to not doing stuff.
I was on the cusp of turning 30, so I was doing some thinking anyway, and...
You know, it always bothers me when people, especially girls, talk about not having sex for a year as if that's a big accomplishment. You accomplish something when you do something, not when you don't do something. Okay, I don't brag about how I didn't mow the lawn today, right?
I happened to see my old college boyfriend in New York, both of us thousands of miles away from home, and he was walking into De Beers to buy his new fiancée an engagement ring, and it got me thinking about the relationships that had followed that in my 20s, and I realized that not only was he my first serious relationship, but he was also the last man in almost a decade to have said, I love you.
I mean, wouldn't that be hilarious if this ex-boyfriend of hers was like a black guy? He's like, hey, looky here, it's my hot ex-white girlfriend. I'm just heading over to De Beers to buy my new white wife a new engagement ring. Your old news, bitch.
Which is obviously a terrible indictment of my romantic choices, and it brought into focus a lot of emotional frustration I was feeling. I think women especially, but men also, are under pressure to have sex in a very particular way.
What is this?
Okay. All right, you get the idea. All right. I don't really want to play the whole damn thing, but if you want to see the whole video, I'll just post a link to it in the description. It's a dumb video, whatever. That's not really what I want to talk about. So what I want to talk about is what I discovered kind of recently, and that's the fact that Hephzibah Anderson is actually a Jewish supremacist. And this was really disappointing to learn. I obviously had nothing against this woman before. I made a funny video, or maybe not quite of a funny video, kind of a stupid video, just kind of making light about her dumb book. And while I said she was pretty back then, as you can see, she has not aged gracefully at all. But her ugliness is a lot deeper than that. One of the first clues that kind of revealed her true colors is this peculiar tweet that I saw on her Twitter. So she's trying to get in touch with someone about doing some interview, and it got me curious about what else she has been kind of tweeting about. And it turns out she's not really tweeting about a lot. However, she has been liking a lot of tweets. This person, for example, Heidi Backram, is a straight up Jewish supremacist. She has been posting a lot of anti-Palestinian vitriol. Here she's commenting on someone's tweet who says, don't agree with it, but maybe they buy their bagels there and want to clarify as to whether their purchases are funding the IDF. So he's talking about how people are boycotting Israeli things because they oppose the genocide in Gaza. These Jewish supremacists are defending it, which is the most repulsive, repugnant thing imaginable. Now, the way they justify their defense of genocide and the rape and murder of children is they conceal it under calling everyone who criticizes it anti-Semitic. But what they're really doing is they're weaponizing Jewish identity in order to basically say it's okay for Jews to rape and murder kids. That should outrage anyone. Like that is the sickest, most disgusting, most vile, abominable thing you could ever do. So here we have Heidi Bakram saying this is a clear case of anti-Semitism as it gets, but these people will stretch every sinew to justify it. Disgusting. So she's doing exactly what I just told you. She's trying to weaponize things like anti-Semitism, Jewish identity. A lot of people try to weaponize the Holocaust, and they are using these despicable methods to justify Jews raping and murdering Palestinian people in Gaza. Hephzibah likes this person. She responded to one of her tweets saying, this is one of the best reposts I've seen, Ellie. Brilliant. She's a big fan of this person. What is she saying here? Today in Brighton, the Queers for Palestine had a march. They called gay rights in Israel colonial pinkwashing, a deep insult to the reality of LGBT plus Israelis and the Palestinians that seek refuge there. They seek to demean, yet people can see the hypocrisy. I don't even know exactly what the hell she's trying to say here, but I've heard dumb things like this before, which is they're trying to attack the LGBT community for showing support for Palestine, which are currently victims of genocide by Jewish supremacists who are raping and killing children there. Hephzibah, she agrees with this method of rebuttal. Now, if you scroll up, now, she doesn't respond. She tries to conceal her Jewish supremacy. So she does most of her Jewish supremacy through the likes. So when you click on the likes, you get an idea of how much of a racist she actually is, which is shocking. She liked this tweet. It's saying George Galloway handing bags of cash to Hamas. Tomorrow, voters in Rockdale will be deciding if he should be a MP. Don't vote for Hamas bootlickers. So she's liking this kind of garbage. Okay, guess who actually gave Hamas suitcases full of cash? It was Israel. Okay, I made a whole video about that. I'm going to post a link to it in the description. But guess what? Palestine has a right to defend itself. But if you have a problem with Hamas, you have a problem with Israel sending suitcases full of cash to Hamas. Even the New York Times posted on this. See, this is the lie that these Jewish supremacists propagate. Here's another tweet that Hephzibah liked. It's not up to non-Jews to decide when anti-Semitism is real, when it is a threat to Jews, and when it's socially acceptable. You cannot describe a poison you've never tasted. So this is another Jewish supremacist defense. No, you moron. People have a problem with Jewish supremacists committing genocide in Gaza. Okay, and you have weaponized the word anti-Semitism, which, by the way, was coined by a racist. Okay, his name was Maurice Steinschneider, who believed that Palestine belongs to white Jews. He was a racist. He was a Zionist, like Hephzibah is. They have overused this word to the point where it means absolutely nothing anyway. But they use this word to defend Jews who rape and murder children in Gaza. Okay, they are committing genocide. There are tons of videos about this. I might post some stuff about this on YouTube later, but I've been posting tons of stuff, of videos showing Palestinian children murdered by Jewish supremacists. And the way that these Zionists defend that is by calling everyone anti-Semitic. Here's another one. Hamas murdered, mutilated, and raped so brutally in such extreme ways, in part because they blah, 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 blah. I'm not even going to read the rest of this garbage. Okay, guess what? This was revealed to be a lie that was perpetrated by the New York Times. The New York Times ran a fake news article which was written by Anat Schwartz. Anat Schwartz was hired by the New York Times, and she wrote a fake news article asserting that there was mass rape on October 7th. This was a lie. Okay, there was no mass rape by Hamas on October 7th. It was revealed that this woman, Anat Schwartz, was an Israeli Air Force intelligence officer with no experience, no background in journalism at all. But she was hired by someone at the New York Times just because she was a Zionist, proving that they practice race-based nepotism. In other words, they hire people on the basis of whether or not they are a Zionist Jew or not because they are qualified, which makes me wonder how Hephzibah Anderson got her career in journalism too. Because obviously, this is not an outlier. This is the one that we caught. Because who the hell hired her? There are tons more at the New York Times. And this is the New York Times, a publication that normally is respected by people. With this one thing, they've completely discredited themselves and validated everything that people have been saying in the past, that mainstream media is controlled by Zionists. Okay? CNN was revealed, exposed to have not been able to even run a story on Gaza without the approval of the Israeli government. That's what mainstream media is in the West. It's Israeli controlled, Israeli state media, and little else. Now, she liked this tweet saying, watching the glibness with which some people of tangential Jewish descent dismiss anti-Semitism for social acceptability is the nausea of our times. It won't affect them. Their social lives are untouched. That is a word salad. That is an incoherent word salad. But I was able to kind of glean a little bit of what the hell this person was trying to say. Now remember, Hephzibah Anderson liked this tweet. It's implying that people of Jewish descent with some Jewish ancestry dismiss anti-Semitism, but it's not anti-Semitism. They're dismissing these allegations of anti-Semitism because they see it for what it actually is, which is just a cover that Jewish supremacists are using to conceal their support of genocide. And then other people are calling that out, and their only defense is just to call them anti-Semitic. So that's what this person's really doing. But this person's also propagating the myth, the lie, that Jews are an ethnicity and there is a genetic component to being Jewish, which is complete nonsense. But this person correctly points out, this person says, this post is anti-Semitic to the core just because you align yourself to a movement born out of the Christian's end-time prophecy. It does not make you more Jewish than anyone else. Jewishness does operate on a monolithic spectrum. A Jew should know that. So I don't agree with everything this person's saying. I don't believe Jewishness is a monolith. And saying it's a monolithic spectrum is kind of a contradiction, but I agree with the kind of the spirit of what this person was saying. Now this idiot says, you're the delusional one. Zionism at the very core of the Jewish religion is at the very core of the Jewish religion. It's the faith of a people from a land that can only reach its full expression in that land. And that's total BS. And I say here, it actually isn't. The founder of Zionism was an atheist. So I made a video about this. Go check it out. I'll post a link to it in the description. And then this imbecile says, he is the founder of modern political Zionism. The idea of the return to Zion and redemption of the temple is central to Jewish belief. No, it's not. No, it's not. Uh, and I respond very simply, Zionism didn't even exist prior to the late 1800s. All Zionism is an Ashkenazi separatist movement. And I post a link to an article which discusses how Ashkenazi Zionists actually bombed Iraqi Jews and framed Muslims for it. Once again, this moron comes out of the woodwork. So here we have a person who says, this sounds a lot like race science. Are only pure-blood Jews real Jews? There is also zero evidence to support your claim that Jews who are part of the pro-Palestine movement are of tangential descent or motivated by social acceptance. I agree. Then this person, this idiot from before, says tangential descent meaning it's their only point of contact with Judaism. You could also read it as incidental. And I say, it's a weasel word. He's wrong too. Descent doesn't make someone Jewish. That's Jew race science, a construction of Zionism. Jews aren't an ethnicity. I post a link to my video explaining why Jews are not an ethnicity. And their only defense is to say, I'm a Zionist now. I say, I could tell. That's nothing to brag about, though. But Zionism lies. Zionism lied about Jews being an ethnicity. So, this was the real Hephzibah Anderson. What a massive disappointment. I had nothing against this woman before, but she revealed herself, her true colors came out after October 7th, and that she's a Jewish supremacist. She believes that Jews are God's chosen people. She thinks everyone else, the Goyim, are just filthy animals. She believes that Jews can rape and murder and commit genocide because they are God's chosen people, and everyone else is just scum. And they weaponize things like Jewish identity, anti-Semitism, and the Holocaust as their method to justify all of it. Fuck you, Hephzibah. You're a disgrace.